Last night at 11, Maryland's Cold Case is brought to you the first in a two-part story of the murder of Joanne Valentine.
That's right. Joanne was shot to death as she pulled into her Arnold home in the early morning hours of September 26, 1993. ABC 2 News' Josie Sturman joins us now with the second half of her story.
Joanne Valentine, mother, sister, and wife, was shot in her driveway after getting home late from a nightclub she owned with her husband, Vinny. When we left off yesterday, the family had just found out Joanne was gone, and a murder investigation was in full force. It was 6:30 on a Sunday morning, and the driveway of Joanne and Vinny Valentine's Arnold home was now a crime scene. Police didn't have much to go on. All they knew was that when Joanne pulled up to her house, a group of people approached her and started arguing. They shot her and sped away.
The neighbors saw and heard what they described as, in different ways, possibly a red car or a darker car, and that it was backing down the driveway.
Michael Garvey is one of several investigators on the case. Detectives spent days interviewing Joanne's co-workers, her family, and friends, but no one could figure out who these men were or why they'd want Joanne dead. But 6 days later, detectives got their big break.
They were three gentlemen from Baltimore City that pretty much made a living by shoplifting and running flim-flams, and they were heroin addicts.
That Friday, they were caught shoplifting film. Officers searched their car and found several stolen items, but it was in the trunk of their car that they found something really interesting, a stolen .38 Taurus, the same gun used to kill Joanne. They sent it and the bullet found in Joanne's body for a ballistics test. They got a match.
And it worked.
When Joanne's family got the call a few days later, they were ecstatic.
We all look at each other and say, this is going to get solved. We're going to find out who killed Joanne.
Police thought the same thing. They spent a year building up a case against the two men, Gilbert Griffin and Edward McLeod. After a year of work, they took their case to the state's attorney, and both men were charged with first-degree murder.
Obviously, then the state's attorney's office felt they had enough because they brought forth the indictments, presented the information to the 24 citizens of Anne Arundel County, who came out with an indictment on these two gentlemen.
What happened next is still a shock to Joanne's family and the police department. The sisters remember being called into a room. They were expecting good news, but that's not what they got.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible to give us that news when we didn't dream that's what it was going to be.
The defense attorney found out Gilbert Griffin could never have killed Joanne because on the night of her murder, he was in jail.
Mr. Griffin was interviewed several times by the Anne Arundel County Police, and not once did he ever say, well, wait a minute, I was in jail when this happened. Never said it.
But he was. To make sure, police went down there themselves to check the records. Griffin was never fingerprinted because of a medical condition, so when police checked the records, his name didn't show up. But the defense attorney found a dinner log with Griffin's name on it. Charges were immediately dismissed against both men and the case fell apart. Since then, police have never gotten close to charging anyone. Now, almost 18 years later, Joanne's case is cold.
Cold case. There's cold case TV shows, they get solved. You know, cold case, cold case. You see stuff in the paper about murders that are 20 and 25 years old get solved. Will we be lucky enough to be one of them?
For 10 years, Joanne's family gathered at the scene of her murder and held a vigil, praying something would happen.
They got away with murder. Those words, you don't get away with murder. Not in the world we live in, we thought, but you do.
Now they do what they can, focusing on the life of their beautiful sister instead of the ugliness of her death.
You can't become consumed by that. Because you can. If you let yourself get consumed by it, you can be angry and ugly.
Waiting, praying every day for an answer, praying for justice. If you have any information about the murder of Joanne Valentine, that tip can really make a difference. You can call Anne Arundel County Police at 410-222-3456. You can also contact Metro Crime Stoppers. Their number is 1-866-7-LOCKUP. Tips can also be texted to crimes or submitted online through metrocrimestoppers.org. Josie Sturman, ABC 2 News.